Let's go. Let's get right into it. It is episode 534, Sold Not For Sale podcast. Coach Colin here. And today we got Vivek and Tucker sitting down together. Great interview. As always, you know, the last time they sat down together was at that conference where Tucker Carlson steamrolled Mike Pence and many other presidential candidates. But he wasn't able to steamroll Vivek. Vivek always seems to be able to combat anybody verbally, able to debate very well, very intelligent. A lot of good things I've been seeing from him, hearing from him. Joe Rogan even said recently that he would make a great vice president, even though right now he's running for president. We know what's going to happen, so hopefully we get to see him as vice president. Right now in this clip, he's talking about the truth and what the public is able to handle in regards to the truth, and how much or how little the powers that be currently feel that we can handle as a society. So I'm really liking what I'm hearing from him. I'm going to say now, before I even, you're hearing a lot of almost Kennedy-esque type of talk. If you think back to Kennedy's talk of, not allowing secret societies, secret oaths, secret meetings, you're hearing that type of vibe from Vivek in this clip that I'm about to show you. And I'm really, really liking it. We'll talk about that after. Just to give you a little recap of what they're talking about so you understand when the clip starts. They're talking about, Vivek was jumping right into 9/11. And he was talking about how at one point the attackers and someone that was involved was thought of to just be acting alone, just independently. And now it's come out that that person was actually a Saudi intelligence officer or operative. And there's actually a federal case because those families might be entitled to some kind of damages from the Saudi government. And it's just another example that Vivek is using of the public being able to handle certain truths that the government, current government and former government just felt like we could not handle at all. So really coming in hot. I mean, starting a Tucker interview on that topic is pretty out there, but he's going for it. Before I bring you that clip, I got to bring you to IamCoachColin.com. Of course, this is the Sold Not For Sale shirt. We got hoodies as well. This is the certified pure blood tee, one of the newest designs for those of you that survived the pandemic and came out the other end unscathed and untainted and unbrainwashed. Congratulations. This is your certificate of achievement. And we have my personal favorite, public enemy number one, the cricket connoisseur himself. We also have hoodies and shirts of that as well. If you don't know who that man is, please, I say it all the time, Google Agenda 2030, Google the World Economic Forum. You will soon find out why I've branded that man as public enemy number one. Now, if you want 10% off, no problem. Just put the code I am Coach Colin into the website and you will have 10% off. Now, that is all capital letters. That is all one word. That is one L in the name Colin, and that gets you 10% off. And if you've done that with us already, thank you. You are much appreciated. Now let's roll it.
So is this the main point I'm focused on in my campaign? No, I'm not. We have to focus on the future of the country. But if I'm asked a question and I answer honestly based on the facts, I don't think they would have come for me if this was false, if this was ludicrous.
Of course.
Lying
is never punished.
Lying is never punished. But it's speaking the truths you're not supposed to speak. That's what actually attracts the immune response, the anaphylaxis.
But why? I mean, you made I thought, a really wonderful point in one of your responses to this, in which you said it's not okay for the government to lie to us, period, in a democracy. It's poison, and it corrodes the system that we revere, democracy. So, but why would the Wall Street Journal take time out of its busy schedule of defending low capital gains taxes to attack you over this?
You know, what's interesting is I think that there's a bipartisan consensus in this country right now that we, the people, we can't handle the truth.
Yeah.
It's like Jack Nicholson at the end of the movie, right?
Yes.
You can't handle the truth. You need me on that wall. My basic view in this campaign is no, we don't need you on that wall. And yes, we can handle the truth. COVID-19, what was the origin? What did we know about the vaccines before we mandated them? What did we know about Hunter Biden's dealings before we systematically suppressed that story? What do we know about the truth of what happened on January 6th? What do we know about that Nashville shooter manifesto, the transgender individual who shot up a bunch of people in a Christian school? That's why I went to Nashville not that long ago, because Bill Lee, a Republican governor of Tennessee, now wants to pass a red flag law in Tennessee without releasing that manifesto. The whole point is the public can't handle the truth. And so I had offline discussions. I mean, we're talking with, big donors in the Republican Party, big folks in media, executives and otherwise, who said, hey, listen, okay, even if what you're saying is true, this is not helping you. You say, why is that the first question that should go through my mind, right? I mean, personally, I think the way I'm running this campaign is I'm not thinking about what's helping me or not before I say it. So far, at least that approach does seem to be helping me.
Yes.
We're doing all right. But even if I weren't, I'd rather lose some election than to play some political snakes and ladders of what we're supposed to say. And I think that that's really one of the questions at issue today, as it was in 1776. Do we believe that the public can be trusted with the truth? Whatever the truth is, just give me the hard truth. I mean, I have a friend of mine, her father died recently. She talked about actually her experience of her father having heart attacks even when she was a kid. He went on to live as far as he did. But she said the one thing she just wanted from the doctors, from her dad, et cetera, is, she's 12 years old at the time. I can handle the truth. Just tell me, is my dad going to die? Is my dad likely to die before he goes in for the next procedure? Don't just tell me he's going to live because you think that's what I need to hear. Just tell me the truth and I can handle the truth. I think most of us are this way. I think we as free human beings, what makes us human beings and not animals is the belief that we can believe in something bigger than ourselves and that we can handle the truth from those who are in power. And I think that's the moment we live in today. It was the moment of the American Revolution, that we, the people, can be trusted. And I think we now live in a moment where the government, and not just the government, but a broader establishment in our country, believes that citizens of this nation cannot be trusted with the truth.
So when you describe the way that people who run the country feel about voters, you're describing the way parents treat small children.
That's right. That's right. I think that that's actually worth understanding, because there's one school of thought that says the government and the people in charge are fundamentally hostile to the people. If only it were so easy, actually. I think the reality of what's going on is far more dangerous, where the people who are in charge have actually what they think of as a benevolent view of the people, that we're doing what's actually right for you, for me, for the populace at large. And then if you look at this throughout history, Tucker, for most of human history, that's how it's been done. For most of human history, before 1776 in the old world, the vision was the people cannot be trusted to sort out their own differences. One person, one vote? That's such a laughable idea. It has to be church leaders and labor leaders and business leaders that decide in the back of palace halls what's right for the rest of society at large. And then we had this weird departure in 1776 that said, no. Actually, we the people can be trusted in a system where every person's voice and vote counts equally, with free speech and open debate in the public square, whatever it is. Sometimes we might get it wrong. Sometimes we get it right. But whatever it is, that's the way we do things in this new thing we call the United States of America. But then every once in a while, and we're in one of those moments, that ugly monster rears its head again that says, no. The people can't be trusted. It has to be now in the back of palace halls, in the back of three-letter government agencies in Washington, D.C., or in the back of BlackRock's corner office on Park Avenue in Manhattan, wherever it is. It's that the enlightened have to make sure that the public is protected from the truth, just like a parent protects a child. And I think it's that parental instinct. It's not the kidnapper's instinct, right? It's not the guy who wants to, kidnap and kill the child. No, it's actually almost what they think of as being the instinct of a parent who's doing for you what's better for you than you know for yourself. And I think that's what gives it actual staying power, because it's not what somebody thinks of as evil who's committing evil. They think of it as actually a moral obligation to the public, which explains the bipartisan nature of when somebody speaks the truth about what really happened on 9/11. No, hush, keep that under the rug, because Republican or Democrat, we know that the people can't be trusted for that. It's not good for the people.
The children are listening. Lower your voice.
The kids are listening.
Yeah.
Very, very, I like that. I like what he has to say there. I don't know about you, but it sounds pretty good. Talking about truth needing to be heard, people needing to find out the truth. And the reason I say very Kennedy-esque is because, RFK Jr., he's trying to run on what he feels his father and his uncle would be running on, and what they did run on, and what, how JFK actually acted, as a president, was telling the truth. He keeps talking about that. And I noticed that, Vivek is talking that same type of talk. And it's really, really something that's needed right now. Just the straight up truth. Obviously not truth to the point where every country can just listen in and know exactly what's going on and, act accordingly or cause dissent, all that stuff. But the public does need to know certain things. They should be allowed to know certain things. And here's the thing. You hear somebody like Vivek, he's talking about the people. He's talking about doing what's right for the people. I feel like the only reason, it's not just a parental thing and, we feel like we're enlightened. I think he's right about that. But here's where I think he's a little wrong. I think that if there are people who are trying to not have you know the truth completely, I don't just think that they're acting as a parental figure. I think that they want their own brand of truth to be shown through, to be the only narrative that exists. I think that there are certain people in the government now and before that if you knew the full truth, they wouldn't be allowed to do what they have done and what they're doing today. I think that's a big part of it. I think there is a part where it's not so nefarious, and this is how people act when they get in power. They feel like, we got to shield the public from certain things, and we're doing them a service in doing that. I think that's true, but I also think there's a nefarious part to it. I want to protect, but also I want to control. I think both are true. And I think in the past 4 years, it's been more about control and less about shielding people. That's just me. That's just my thought process. In terms of what I've seen and what I've seen allowed to happen in the streets of cities, being burnt to the ground, and just what's been happening to regular working people, businesses getting shut down, et cetera, et cetera. Everybody's been there. Everybody knows what happened. I feel like that's more about control than it is about feeling like we're enlightened and we just need to help these people through. We just need to help the public through as parental figures, because your parents, think about the parental analogy. Your parents wouldn't do what was done. Like how do you even liken that to what a parent would do over the past 4 years? You ever come home from school and your mom's like, listen, I burnt your room to the ground to teach you a lesson. I smashed your computer, I burnt your room down, and I let a bunch of people loot the house. It's for the best. Trust me. You just trust me. Your parents don't do that, right? But you know who would do that? A maniac, like a criminal, like a Gotham villain. They would do something like that. So, but again, I love hearing what he's saying. And just so you know, after this clip, because I can't play too much of the interview out of respect for Tucker, after this clip, Vivek starts talking about revolution. And he starts talking about how America right now is in this 1775, the spring of 1775 moment. And he's saying that because that's when revolution occurred, and then the dawn of 1776 came about. And he was talking about how he hopes a revolution is about to happen in the most positive sense of the word. And I couldn't agree more. I hope what happened over the past 4 years was the worst of the worst, and then some kind of awakening, some kind of good comes into play. And I know a lot of people feel, I kind of think the same thing. If Trump gets in the office, we'll see that. But we'll also see a large, maybe not large percent of people, but we're going to see a lot of people rebel against that. The same that we saw when he got elected the first time. There was a bunch of people, everybody who was a Democrat, he's not a legitimate president, it's not real. They questioned the election so much. Nobody talks about that, eh? Like he questioned the election they questioned the election so much They question the results constantly. Hillary must have said he is not a legitimate president 1,000 times. And it was echoed throughout mainstream media, how this is not a legitimate president. So it's funny that now that Trump started questioning the election, everybody's just like, oh, I can't believe you're questioning it. I can't believe it. It's silly. But that's the tactics. That's the tactics they play. So I'm hoping there's a revolution as well, in the most positive sense of that. I hope it's a revolution of people becoming like more of a community, more local communities, and then more self-sufficiency. Like that's the revolution that went on in my mind. Is that I was like, oh, I have to become self-sufficient. I have to step in to being a husband, being a father, being the best at that, being present, you know, putting the needs of my family first before anything and everyone, and just becoming self-sufficient financially, you know, spiritually, emotionally, like everything, you know. I hope that happens just nationwide. You know, that would be amazing to see. But again, like if you haven't liked the video already, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Let me know what you think about Vivek and what he's talking about. I already know most people are going to think, of course I can handle the truth. Of course I want the truth. So what do you think about that? And, you know, are there people out there that think that we couldn't handle the truth, that we couldn't handle knowing things, that we shouldn't know all the things? I don't know. I'm very much in the camp of we should know things, you know, and the only reason that you'd want to withhold the truth is so you could hold a tighter grip on control. Just my opinion. Other than that, I am out.